Hello and welcome everybody to another match in the Super Metroid multi-category tournament. I'm Emmet and today we're going to look at... They're going to race in 100%. Guyaverage and Matrick are both really good runners, so this will surely be an exciting race. Of course, both of our players have escaped Ceres Station. No problem there. So that right there was a pretty good demonstration of the difference in Moonfall and not using Moonfall. Guy Average caught up pretty good there. Matrick does not use Moonfall, is one of those old school runners. Here we see both runners going up the climb, classic wall jumping, and they're on the way to getting bombs. Alright, so the bomb tree is down, and both of these runners executing the bomb trees pretty well. Matrick didn't really have the same luck with the drops, so he had to wait for another round to get those drops. So because this is 100%, both of our runners will have a little bit more ammo compared to any percent runs, missiles in particular. So we'll see if any of these runners will use any missile strats for upcoming enemies. It also seems like they're both pretty low on energy. Guyaverage, he is going down Red Tower. I believe Matrick tends to go up Red Tower straight to power bombs. Alright, Matrick also goes down. So what you can do is you can go up Red Tower and get the any percent power bombs. That will prevent backtracking later on in the run. So you can clean up Kraid's lair in the first visit. First and only visit in that case. Obviously, we're going for Spacer this time. Fortunately, we're not really keeping it throughout the entire run. So I mentioned the energy situation earlier, and the issue here is that if you get hit by something accidentally, you might get health bombed by Kraid. Mini Kraid in particular. Guyaverage did just fine. Matrick took a small hit there from Mini Kraid. Usually it's not a problem, but you might get hit by something along the way. Alright, that's a pretty clean quick kill there from Guyaverage. And Matrick 2. So there's no Kraid upper body DLC in this race. We probably won't see routes diverging anytime soon. Right now it's pretty standard. 100%. There's really no other route you can take that's beneficial from this point on, but we'll see what they will do if they will go with early Crocomire or late Crocomire, also known as late or early ice. See that Matrick got hit by the Key Hunter there, and that was probably because it didn't jump through the door. It's pretty important to jump through that door in particular. For some reason, if you do not jump through, the Key Hunter just comes down into that one tile gap. It's really weird, but that's how it is. Ooh. Guyaverage just got that gamer in time. Not too big of a deal if you miss him, but if you do miss that gamer, you will have to go down at the bottom after you've picked up high jump boots and then shoot him to be able to open the door again. So yeah, right now, Guyaverage has a small lead on Matrick as we're traversing through Norfair. And this is a pretty movement-heavy section of the run. We're not really seeing any battles until Crocomire, so there's just straight platforming. Picking up some items, of course, along the way. Ooh, Guyaverage not doing the morph strat at the bottom. That's pretty tough. It's significantly easier to do what Matrick is doing there, just rolling along the bottom. Matrick hit the waiver with a super missile. Not really a big deal in 100%, but he might farm another super missile because of that. The ammo situation depends on how you want to play Crocomire. No more super missile packs are picked up until wrecked ship, so you really only have 5 super missiles to play with. It is pretty nice though to have plenty of supers for Crocomire. Still gotta use 1 for his door to begin with, but 2 for the actual fight. is pretty good. And there we have Wave Beam. So we get a mini high five there. There will be more of those. They're really close to each other so far. So guyaverage has 4 super missiles, and that's really that's really good actually, because that's you tend to have that as a max at this point. And well, you have 2 super missiles for the Croc fight. So let's see how he deals with Crocmire. He does a wave shot in the opening, and then missiles, and then super missile. What you can do, because he consistently opens up his mouth as his first move, that's the moment where you can shove in a missile and a super missile. Each missile puts Crocomire back 1 step, and each wave beam shot puts him back 2 steps, wave and spacer, that is. But if you can chain a missile and a super missile, you get 4 steps right away. We didn't get too many swipes either. Crocomire swipes are kind of like getting slow rounds in or Fantoon. They're not too significant, but... Ooh. Magic with the spike suit. That's fancy. Right, so Crocomire swiping isn't really too significant, but if he does it all the time, that could be pretty significant. And there we have the power bombs. The first power bombs in this run. One of the main points of early Ice is that you can get that spike suit and then save it for X-ray, which is it's a pretty long hallway, so it does save a few seconds, but you will have to keep that spike suit for a pretty long time. Guyaverage chooses to pick the missile pack first, the Indiana Jones missiles, and I guess Matrick just goes straight at it. So Matrick has some potential here to make up some time by grabbing the grapple beam first. The thing is, when you pick up the Indiana Jones missile, you can pick those up right as Matrick is doing right now. So when you're leaving grapple, you have plenty of momentum to cross the room. The scary part is that you need to use grapple beam. And that's a pretty free Shine Spark there. It's a pretty long shaft, so Shine Sparking there is Pretty good strat. Matrick chose to farm once there. So that's probably the best place to farm before wrecked ship. It'll be interesting to see what these guys do. They have good ammunition though, so that really shouldn't be a problem at all. They're so equal in their energy situation. And guyaverage is at an offer. He also has one more super missile than matrick. But of course matrick manages to find one in the business center. The Norfair Business Center is a pretty decent place to farm as well. You're passing through those enemies anyways, so you might as well look for a super. And the gamers there does have a pretty decent chance to drop super missiles. So it's really not a bad place to farm. And if you have 4 super missiles, you're pretty much set, unless you're really, really unlucky with the drops. And of course we see an Alpha Spark. Nice. Guyaverage doing the down back strat. Pretty complicated, pretty precise jump. Oh, Metric almost gets it. Still made a quick recovery. It isn't always easy to make a quick recovery if you fail that because of the rippers. So that was really good on Matrick. And no vile pluming. It's a nice spark from guyaverage. You still have this spark, the bonk, like the bonk frames from the spark. That's slowing you down a little bit, but it's still worth it because killing those side hoppers in the room reduces plenty of lag, and obviously it's a pretty quick way to kill them. Power bombs cause a lot of lag if you want to kill the side hoppers that way. So guyaverage just left Red Tower and he's coming to the moat. Let's see what he does. Perhaps an ocean fly. Oh, we missed it. That's a pretty precise missile shot for the ocean fly. But it didn't get the spark. The grapple beam strat really isn't much slower if you go straight at the moat with the grapple beam. You might save a second or two with the ocean fly, and obviously it's a pretty cool strat. If you're handy with grapple beam, that's also really fast. Alright, wrecked ship. So that's one missile pack that people tend to forget. It's a good sign that we see both of these runners remembering to get that missile pack. Alright. Everyone's favorite ghost Phantom is coming up here. Pretty annoying boss fight, according to a lot of runners. Let's see what guyaverage does. Oh, and he gets a fast. Fortunately misses it. A matrick as well, and it gets the X Factor straight in. Alright. Guy Average gets rid of Fan 2 with a fast mid-slow. The fast can really throw you off sometimes. Obviously you want the fast to save time, but sometimes it's tricky. Oh, and Matrick has to be really careful here. Fortunately, he plays it a little bit safer, farming some health. One of the pretty scary things about Fantoon is that when you're low on health and you try to desperately shoot his flames, you don't really always get the health drops that you want. And if you get a fast on top of that, then it can be devastating. Fortunately, he made it out. And he's an energy tank behind Guy Average. It also seems that Matrick has emptied his reserves from the fight. So we'll see. Guy Average has practically more energy because of that. The reserves aren't always that useful because when you get hit and your reserves activate, you still get hit once again and might have just, you know, barely made any difference. But could potentially save them if there's a minor damage source that activates the reserves. Of course, grappling through the wrecked ship energy tank room. You see Guy Average. Ooh, Matrick charging up a shine spark through the spike room. Nice one. And that would be pretty safe for him as well, considering his health. He would not be able to afford a platform hit. Oh, and he falls down into the water. But that's okay. Made a pretty quick recovery. Now, Guy Average is on his way to the attic. Let's see what he's doing here. Pretty good, pretty good. Yep, solid attic. So, it's one of those rooms where you can lose a ton of time if you mess something up. So you really want to get that room right. The speed booster strat there obviously saves health and saves some lag frames instead of using a power bomb. It saves health compared to a shine spark, that is. But it's arguably much more difficult to execute. Matrick doing a pretty standard power bomb strat. Not getting the blue. Fortunately, in Hondo, if you miss the attic, you have a ton of missiles to kill the items with. And the key hunters. Guy Average misses the spark, misses the jump, and does the spark instead. That's a pretty convenient setup. You can just do a diagonal shine spark to get up there again. Oh. See that robot rooms can be pretty nasty sometimes. Alright, Matrick is finally out of the wrecked ship. For now. Gets to jump. Guyaverage. Basically just running through the spike room. You can also spark. Alright, so the health situation is pretty important here. They're going to do the longest spark in the game just above the ship, Samus's ship. But they need a certain amount of health to survive that shine spark. If they don't have enough health, they might land somewhere nasty. And there it is. Gravity suit. It seems that both of these runners will be fine. That is, they will be able to do the Brinstar Spark that I was talking about earlier. Guyaverage has just about 300, well, a little bit less now, and oh, he also turns on spacer for the wraparound shot. The thing is that Wave Beam has a really precise setup for that wraparound shot. And some people are just not comfortable doing that variant. Still no door. So we're looking for a door sound. There we go. Okay, Guyaverage deciding to play it a little bit safe here by putting back some energy from his reserves. He would have been fine with a spark. But you know, it's good to play safe. Matrick should also be fine, but he's on the threshold for the spark. So he will probably run out of health, but somewhere in the end. Oh no, he decides to... wanted to save some health by jumping forward and making a shorter spark, but then he missed it. Alright, he's back at it again. There he stops. So, yeah, he made it through. As long as you break all those blocks, it's really fine, and you don't want to land on top of a yapping maw. I believe that happened to Soast in a 100% run. Or race, for that matter. And so we get to see some moonfalling here in Green Brinstar 2 from guyaverage. Ooh. He kind of got it there, but he landed on a second platform. It's really cool also when you do it in a morphed state. You're still landing a power bomb at the bottom there, so you can just morph right away if you want. Alright, so we're back to another movement heavy part of the run. It's really just platforming here. No boss fights, no big enemies you need to care much about. They don't really need to be concerned much about ammo or energy at this point. We'll save that part for Meridia. Guyaverage passing the Irikuns. Singing the item fanfare. I always like that morph strat that guyaverage just did. Kinda just land in place like that. Fits so well. Gets the spark and the power bomb. Setting up for Mission Impossible. Did not quite get it. You need to get a spin jump to get up there again. Well, obviously for the wall jump. But also for jump height and all that stuff. Usually you can just, when you pick up those power bombs, you can just hold jump and the other direction. And if you time it right, you can get up there again. Okay, Matrick is setting up for Mission Impossible. He gets it. Oh, never mind. So you kind of made a short wall jump there, unfortunately. But that's fine. Guyaverage with a Spore Spawn skip. We'll save that for any percent all bosses. Unless, of course, everyone vetoes that. Alright, so there's not too much left for Guyaverage to pick up here in Pink Brinstar. There's basically the tank. Matrick still needs to get the super missiles. There we go. So Matrick's setup is pretty consistent, I'd say. There's a couple of setups for the wraparound shot, and the second one that he did is pretty. The thing about it is that it's pretty versatile. You got a few pixels, I believe, where you can stand. Some setups are really, really precise, and you kind of want to do them depending on where you are, where you appear from. So if you just got the Pink Brinstar E-Tank, you might have to do a setup that's closer to the super missile block. But otherwise, that setup that Matrick did is pretty solid. Let's see how guy average exits green Brinstar. Blockbuster. Oh, yes. That's very nice. That's what we like about 100% swag tricks. It also saves a good couple of seconds. Now he's about to enter Meridia. That's a pretty convenient setup that Guy Average did for the Main Street Spark. Because he kind of spin jumps into that platform at the bottom, and that lines you up perfectly for the spark. Very convenient. If you do that upper spark fast enough, you really won't lose much time at all over the standard bottom Main Street Spark. And you won't have to do a complicated short charge. You might see one from Matrick here though. There he goes. Kills the crab. There he gets it. Yeah, Metric is really good at short charging. So I figured he would do that. He also got the jump. What we're seeing now is the Meridia Beach section. Meridia Beach has some really tricky platforming. Pretty hard to get through in a smooth manner. The shape of the rooms are pretty awkward, I'd say. And you're really only going there for a couple of missiles and a super missile. Oh, nice. So, Guy Average gets the Meridia Beach ball. That's basically when you speedball through that, or just mock ball through that gap. That's the beach ball. We're gonna see the snake anytime soon. That's a good short charge entrance by Guy Average. Let's see how he handles bot one. Nice. Oh, I missed a particle. Still pretty good though. Pretty fast kill, despite that. Alright. Let's see the full healthy. Fully. And he gets it. Very nice. He'll be entering Dragon soon as well. Just getting those missile packs. Or that missile pack. That single missile pack. Let's see what Matrick does with Wound. He does the standard X Factor. See, Matrick doesn't even have Moonwalk turned on. And in that case, he could just turn around without having to care about moonwalking. If you have moonwalk on, you need to jump if you do that setup. Find some other way to time it. Alright, pretty good dragon so far. Let's see the final spark. There we go. Nice blue suit. Matrick unfortunately up-sparking the fully. And there's space jump. And there we go with the return halfie. Matrick entering Dragon. For guy average, there's a cleanup coming up for basically the rest of Meridia. Let's see how he does it. Let's also see what Matrick does for Dragon. He misses one particle, but that's fine. Gets 2 sparks in so far. Oh! Up spark. That's unfortunate. There he goes. Blue suit. Alright, say hello to Shaktul while Matrick does the return spark. So, by the way, if you're a person with good morality, you don't kill Shaktul. I mean, the guy just helps you out. And there we see Spring Ball. Oh no! Shaky died. What have you done, guy average? It's fine. Magic won't kill Shaktul. He'll survive one of the runs. Going up the toilet. So Guy Average is on his way to Plasma Beam. As we're seeing some pretty nice moon falling there from Guy Average. There's plenty of moon falling you can do in 100%, and the time save in total is at least 20 seconds. Some of them are pretty minor, but it adds up. Really does. Matrick might want to mind his health here. I think he'll be fine, but these guys do a lot of damage, so you gotta keep an eye on your energy, for sure. Alright, let's see if Guy Average gets the blue bomber. Oh! Almost. The tricky thing about that setup is that you can't do too many taps in your short charge or too many stutters, because you need that speed. But you also can't just do a one tap very easily, because there's not enough space to run. So you ought to find that balance. I found that a 3-tap does just enough, gives you just enough speed to reach that platform. A 2-tap is a little harder, but if you do get the jump and all, it's pretty safe from there on. Alright, so Guy Average will very soon leave Meridia. Matrick getting his E-Tank. That's the good thing about it, because you can pick that E-Tank up right after Dragon, or you can pick it up there at the escape. The thing is, if you pick it up right there at the escape, you will have enough health for pretty much the entire run. See what Matrick does. Oh, he does a really short charge there. But he gets up. That backup, I think the least you'll have to do without any stutters is a 3-tap. Most of 100% can be done with just a 3-tap. As in, many of the, what would you say, big time save strats can be done with a 3-tap. There are some exceptions. One of them are the Meridia Main Street. But most of the run can be done with a 3-tap, so you don't really need to learn stutters for this category, which is pretty nice. I certainly didn't for a very long time, because I'm pretty bad at it. Alright, so guy average on his way to Ice Beam. Matrick finally left Meridian. There we see him going for the Kraid missiles. Also that deboost in the Crocomire shaft, or pre-Crocomire shaft, is pretty good. Sets you up perfectly after picking up those missiles. So, guy average missed. He set up the chronic boost, but he missed it. Just barely missed it. You need to be in a pretty specific position to get that. And of course, more statues. The statue feels that guy average has space jump, so he gets a pass. Alright, let's have a look at Matrick doing the deboost. I hope he does it. There we go. That gamer was made for 100%. Alright, Golden Chorizo. Pretty standard fight, just stand right in front of him and shoot up. The reason we want to shoot up is that it hits Golden Chorizo twice. Sometimes when he jumps, you kind of want to wait for Golden Chorizo to land, because if you don't, you will only get one hit. You'll have to do an extra shot. Good pillar spark. Matrick almost getting that springboard jump. And there's Mickey Mouse. This is one thing that's really showcasing why screw attack is very useful. So guyaverage kills those pirates, those key hunters with simple screw attack jumps. And it's not just out of convenience, but it also reduces a ton of lag. So when he needs to use that power bomb later on, he'll save plenty of frames. I think even seconds. Oh no, Matrick missing the spark. Guess he forgot how to set it up. You don't want to do it straight from the statue, you need to move back a little bit. Alright, that's a pretty nice Ridley entrance from guyaverage. Let's see how Ridley's doing. Oh, he's using the super missiles. Supers have a high DPS. So you can really substitute them for plasma beam in that fight if you want. So Magic didn't kill those key hunters, and you could see how much that room lagged for him. That's why lag reduction is so important. It may not seem like a big deal at first glance, but when you get into the nitty-gritty, there's plenty of time to be saved from that. Patrick just desperately trying to get through the KO. We get a bit of a high five there as well. In the wasteland. Good speedball. Alright, and let's see how Matrick deals with Ridley. He did fine. So guyaverage got through that. The fire flea room. It's a bit tricky because you might accidentally kill one of those fire fleas. So on your way up, it gets really dark. But you can do well from memory still. Matrick finally gets rid of Ridley. So now they're both escaping Lower Norfair. Of course, we have one more missile pack in the Frank Resi room. Oh no! Matrick! Magic kind of just slided away from that platform and down again. Of course, the Kagos are really merciless. So guyaverage just gets that reserve and those missiles. And he's gotta get one more missile pack and then he's out of Norfair. Matrick also doing one of those dark room strats. Still gets through fine. Here's that missile pack. Yeah, next up for guyaverage is X-ray, and it's pretty difficult to forget that one. For sure. At least it's very easy to verify if you have missed it. And I don't mean that in that it doesn't show up in the HUD, but that whenever you try to run and change weapons, you kind of just do a dead stop. Not really a big problem, but if you want to get used to having X-ray, you might consider doing item cancel more often. Alright, Matrick is finally out of lower. There's the X-ray hole. Really no big deal because space jump and grapple beam for that matter. Will we see a Slinky? Probably not, from Mr. Guyaverage anyway. The reverse Slinky is, to say the least, a very, very difficult trick. But it's still fun to at least attempt. Might get halfway at least. So, Blue Bryn Star cleanup for guyaverage. Obviously, Matrix still has to get the X-ray. Oh, matrick with some old school spring ball strats. There we have guyaverage is setting up a shine spark to get through the pit room. Getting those weed stash missiles. See if Matrick sets up for Slinky. I think he has too much speed and height for that jump. Guyaverage has one item left. Cavity missiles. That's a nice 230 missiles Mark Ball. That one is pretty precise. I guess you could call that the cavity Mark Ball. Guyaverage is apparently on PB pace now. It's been doing really well. But of course, Matrick is still chasing him. It'll be interesting to see what they are doing in Torian. I always love me some good hundo strats in Torian. Blast those Metroids with super missiles all the way. There's no need to group or anything like that because you pretty much always have enough ammo. If your supers run out, you will have missiles left to finish the game. Nice. Very good room 1. Also pretty good room 3. Room 1 and room 3 are arguably the hardest to execute. There's some pretty fast angling and item cancelling you need to do. can't really decide which one is harder, but I think I'll have to go with room 3. Alright, let's see what kind of Metroid skip he gets. It's like 5 jumps? 6? Yeah, that was really good. Really good skip. And a pretty swaggy moonfall. That's the classic Zeb skip. Typically, what you can do to save some time is to not disable variosuit and screw attack. Screw attack in particular. But while you're at it, you tend to also turn off variosuit. Either way, there is a drop down fall skip you can do. Down back. I mean, down back sub skip, but it's pretty complicated compared to the classic space jump, spin jump skip. It's the ketchup. It's the Kappa Pride beam. Setting up for stand-up. No, not as in stand-up comedy. Right, let's see how Matrick does. Oh, we missed the Metroid. We're sliding there in the acid. Yeah. Alright, so guyaverage gets a good bunch of shots in here. If you're fast enough, if your shots are optimal, Mother Brain will just die in phase 3. Or die by one shot. He does a 6-shot after the baby dies. Wild Anaconda told me something. He taught me that you should always do 7 shots. It's like an unwritten rule. Always 7. It is a little bit scary because if you hold in a shot while Samus is supposed to regain control, you can get this freeze. It's pretty scary, but if you have a missile if you have basically one missile, you can just switch and you'll be fine. Certainly that has always worked for me when I've gotten stuck. The John look. Alright, so there we have the escape. And in Hundo, of course, you go all in the escape. Here's a minor detail. If you kept screw attack on You can do that third escape room or fourth a little bit safer. No biggie. Anyway, Mr. Guy Average, he finishes in first place with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes and 19 seconds on SRL. Good game. That leaves us with Matrick. Oh no, Matrick got stuck. That's fine. As long as you're... As long as Mother Brain can reach you, that's fine. So, a friendly reminder is to never really morph and unmorph during that moment. Especially not at the top of the screen, because if you get stuck there, then, well, the game has soft locked. If Mother Brain can't reach the baby, then it's stuck forever. But Matrick is fine. Now we just lost some time to not being able to shoot Mother Brain. And she's dead. For the second time. Alright, come on Matrick, show us the blue bomber. You can do it. Here we go. Oh, that's nice. That's really good. You made me proud, Matrick. Dear Force? There we go. Matrick finishes with an SRL time of 1 hour, 26 minutes and 26 seconds. GG to both of these runners. Alright, that was a great race. Both of these runners are just great runners. They've been along for a while, been running for a while. So, Guy Average wins this one. And he's confirmed to have 100%. Let's see if we get some interviews going on.
Hi.
All right, so here we have guyaverage and matrick. How do you feel your runs went? I guess we can start with you, guyaverage.
My run was pretty bad early game, to be honest. Like, I had 36 series, and I was thinking like, oh, this run's gonna be garbage, dude. I'm probably gonna lose. And I was like plus 20 at Varia, and I was like, oh man, dude. And then after grapple beam, I just like slowly started like coming back, and then it was like, I think pink Brintstar cleanup that I really started like getting ahead, and I was like, I might have a chance to BB.
Yeah, that's the thing with 100% is that you can slowly save time or slowly lose time, but you really won't die or make any super big mistakes in terms of time save or time loss for that matter.
Right.
How
I
about
pretty
you,
much
Matrick?
nailed all the big stuff.
Right. How about you, Matrick?
Uh, it was just a overall average run, I feel. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too terrible. I mean, Phantom was pretty bad. Dragon was pretty bad. I mean, I haven't played in a while, and I haven't gotten around to learning Dragon again yet, and I've always had trouble with Dragon, so I kind of just do what I can to make it happen.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, it was pretty reasonable. Like, just sloppy movement, which you would expect from not playing for a little bit and stuff like that. And overall, I mean, it was better than my last Hundo run, but this one lost and that one won. So I don't know.
Yeah, on the bright side, you actually had an SRL PB.
Yeah,
I just
made this. I made this Matrick account like last race because I don't know what happened with SRL, but my nick got like unregistered or it just like eliminated itself from existence, so I had to make a new one. But you guys were talking about like improvements on in Hundo, and I think one of the main things about that is like since Hundo, obviously there's a lot of rooms in any run, as long as it's not like glitched or something. But in Hundo, there's like so many rooms, like almost to the point where it's 100% map, So like even just a couple seconds here or there in some rooms, that adds up over time, and that's where you get like the 30 seconds out of nowhere. Like you feel like it's just a regular run, it's like your movement's a little bit better, but for the most part it's regular. But then you turn out being like 30 seconds ahead. I feel like it's just because all those little 1 or 2 seconds, like a million rooms in the whole run.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and especially you got so many cleanup sections, and those are really movement heavy. It's just all movement, all room
right.
time.
That's why I love 100% because it's just like even the early game, like it's just like any other early game. It's just you go through, you get the essentials, and then once you, even like right after Fantoon or even during the wreck ship, it's just the movement is just so interesting because of having all the items and everything, having speed, wave, high jump, which you would have in an any percent run, but you're going through all the different rooms. I don't know, it's just an interesting run to me as opposed to just doing a regular 100%. That's why I've always been a 100%, runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wreck Ship is really where it starts to pick up. And then there's so many cool strats you can do in like Brinstar and Meridia. And then when you're coming back through Retro. Yeah, there's so many strats that you can do in general. This makes it really cool.
Yeah. The cleanup sections are my favorite part. Except for the one after Ridley, because it's like, at that part, I'm always like, all right, time to go, like, finish the game. And I'm like, I gotta collect all this random junk first.
Right. I was actually, like, tripping myself out at Red Tower after I got X-Ray. I was like, wait, do I go up or left?
Oh, and of course I got the, whatchamacallit, in Retro Brinstar, when you lay the PB in, like, the pixel-perfect location to not destroy those 2 blocks. Did you notice that, Emmett?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in my other runs, I've been getting, it's like consistently, I've been getting the spot where at Criteria Supers where you lay it and it doesn't open the door, like that pixel perfect spot. So it's one or the other for me apparently, because I don't know, I'm just cursed.
Hey man, you made up for it. The blue balls.
Oh yeah.
Don't feel bad.
I didn't get the Meridia one though. I was set up for it. I guess I did too short of a short charge or something, right? Because I didn't have enough speed.
Oh yeah, I think the same exact thing happened to me. Like I didn't have enough speed, so I couldn't make it like over the last ledge or whatever.
Yeah. The worst thing about that
was
is
pretty close. Yeah.
the top block is respawning. If it wasn't respawning, like if you're a little short, you just jump back up afterwards. But it respawns, so you actually have a shine spark, regardless.
Right,
You know.
Yeah.
I didn't soft lock there though, so we're okay.
I'd like to do a 2-tap or 3-tap for that blue ball strat. I feel like more than that, it's just not having enough speed, and less than that, it's pretty hard to make the jump.
Right.
So, Matrick, what was your best section in the run, do you think?
My early game was terrible, so we're just gonna completely exclude that. I mean, my Torian wasn't too bad. I'm not very good with the Metroids to begin with, so that was kind of like, believe it or not, that was like a regular Metroids for me. But then I got the baby skip. It wasn't a great skip, but it was just a baby skip, and then Zeb skip, right through there. And of course, I was goofing around during stand up, so I didn't soft lock, but I got myself stuck there. I'm the king of doing that. Like I do it like if I'm not standing still or like space jumping, I'm gonna get stuck. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I highly suggest not morphing and unmorphing. Just do like jumps, normal jumps.
Yeah. Well, I've
It'll
found
be fine.
the most secure thing to do is actually, believe it or not, the most secure thing to do is just lay there as a ball on the ground,
right.
and then once you get once it does the auto crouch thing, the position change, just lay a bomb and it'll bounce you up, and then you're good.
Right. So, guyaverage, you had a pretty solid run all the way through. What was your best section?
I mean, honestly, I didn't really feel like my cleanup was that solid because I didn't really get most of the strats that I was trying to go for. I'd say like probably the first Norfair visit or Wreck Ship was pretty good. I had a really good spiky death room. I exited with like 5 E-tanks full, and like I usually never get out with that much health, so yeah.
What strat do you use for spiky death?
Deboost. That's it. I don't know. I just deboost.
Both ways?
With what?
Both ways, like going in and going out?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're a madman. Yeah, I spark going in, and then I don't know if you're familiar with the chronic strat going out, where you jump and then you land on the one platform and then you jump across them and do the bounce ball.
Oh yeah, no, I've never seen that.
Yeah, you should look it up. It's an old strat. I think Chronic came up with it, but I'm not positive. I found it in Chronic's 100% tutorial, like way in 2013.
Yeah, I actually noted that you did that spark, Matrick, because your health was not that good, and the platform would be bye-bye.
Yeah. I don't really look at health, which is like terrible. Like you don't need to look at health when you're after Wreck Ship. Like after Gauntlet Spark, you don't need to look at health.
Yeah,
Like, I
sure.
never look at
When you
health.
get the E-tank, it's pretty
Right.
Usually fine.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like if you don't look at health, you like don't really kind of like freak out or something. You don't stress out over doing spiky death room. So like I just try to ignore it as much as possible and just do the strat, you know,
Right.
so you don't get nervous.
Yeah, the biggest
Right.
thing about not looking at health is, this happens to me all the time. I do all the, not health conservative strats and everything, and then I get to Gauntlet Spark, and I'm at like 180, and I'm like, oh crap, and I gotta like run and make a really far jump, and then Spark as far out to the left as I can, which happened this run actually.
Yeah, that sucks a lot. And I don't really know like the specific numbers either, so I just kind of like ballpark it sometimes.
Yeah.
And
I
if
think
I'm
it's-
like under 2 E-tanks or something, then I just like do ship refill.
Yeah, I think it's like 230 to do the Gauntlet Spark. Like that goes through the first room of Gauntlet. But then there's also like, I think it's like 70 or whatever to spark up into the top right corner to get the PBs. And then if you spark through that room, it's another like probably like 30 or 50 or something,
Yeah. And you need like 3
So-
E-tanks for that.
Yeah. So entering landing site for like when you're coming in for all that, you should probably be at like 320 or so.
Right. Yeah, I guess that wraps it up. So thank you guys so much for the race. That was a good race.
Was it close at any points? Like, because I know I played pretty bad most of the time.
It was actually, you were pretty neck and neck there early on, in certainly up to wrecked ship somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Right after I was leaving Fantoon, or right after I was like just killing him, Guy Average wrote in the chat like fast mid or whatever he wrote, and then I responded and I was like, too many to count.
Yeah, I think I was like glancing over from time to time, and we were like really close early game. And then like I messed up a spark and moat, and then you actually like caught up to me, and we were actually like, I think we were tied or something until Fantoon, and then I got a 3 round, and then you got like I don't know, 7 rounds.
9 rounds.
Yeah,
52 round.
yeah, and then I think that's where it like started to break apart.
Right.
Well, let me ask you something, Emmett. What was your favorite segment of each of our runs?
Well, I think I should say Meridia actually. I usually don't like Meridia, but I think that went pretty good for both of you. I mean, in both ways. I
Right.
guess your dragon was a little bit worse though.
Yeah, but I got blue suits that kind of made up for it, I guess.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for
Alright.
watching. Thanks to what's the name of the people supporting this? It's a weird name. I keep forgetting it. It's like
Mega
Mad
Cat.
Cats. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mega Cat. Whatever. Thank you to them for the prizes and such.
All right,
Right. Thanks for watching.
thanks for the race.